Anna here. Welcome to Sew Learn Create. I'm glad you joined us today. I make videos on sewing, quilting, and DIY crafts. And if you like what you see, be sure you click that subscribe button and the bell notification so you'll get notified whenever I upload a video. Today's project is a fun one, and it's a pet toy. It has a squeaker inside, and your pet will love it. It's quick and easy to make, so let's get started. For today's project, you'll need just a few supplies. You'll need some polar fleece, and you can get this at any craft supply store, or you can also buy the blankets they sell in the wintertime, and you can make a whole bunch out of one of those blankets. I cut mine into a heart shape, but you can do any shape of your toy, and I'll put the heart pattern in the description box. And you'll need a squeaker, and you can buy these at your craft supply store also, and they just squeeze and they make that squeaky sound. The squeaker is just if you want it, but you don't have to put it in there. And then the other things you'll need are some basic sewing supplies, and then you'll need some polyfill, and you can also get this at your local craft supply store. So I'm going to make mine today out of this blue fabric, and it's pretty easy. You're going to take your polar fleece. Polar fleece sometimes has a very definite right and wrong side. Sometimes it doesn't, depending on the pattern, but this one does. I can tell this is a little bit lighter color on the back. So this is my right side, this is my right side. So I'm going to put those together and line them up. And then we're going to, when we go to the machine, we're going to stitch all the way around, but we want to leave an opening on one of our long sides of the bottom of the heart, where we can put turn it right side out and then put our stuffing in. You don't want to leave it on this curve, that opening, because that's harder to stitch up when you're done. So you want it kind of on a straight side if you're doing a heart. And I'm going to use clips to secure mine, and I'm going to use my red and green clip system. So I'm going to put my green clip here is where I'm going to start my stitching, and I'm going to put my red clip here where I'm going to stop. Now the width of your opening will be determined by the width of your squeaker, because you want it big enough for this squeaker to fit through. So you need to double check when you're setting your opening size that your squeaker will fit through the opening. Then I'm going to clip all the way around, and we will head to the machine. Alright, so when we go to the machine, we're going to start here at our green. We're going to stitch all the way around and stop at our red clip. So let's go to the machine. Now we're at the machine, and we're going to start here at our green clip, and we're just going to stitch all the way around, remembering to stop at our red clip. And I'm going to use the outside edge of my foot as my seam allowance, which makes it slightly larger than 1/4 inch. So I'm going to put my needle down, and we're just going to stitch to this corner, and then we're going to lift and turn. When you get to the corner, you're going to put your needle down, lift your presser foot, and turn your project, and then just keep going. And when you get to a curve, if you just go slowly and just turn, then you can make that curve nice and smooth. And if you need to stop, then you can always lift your presser foot and adjust slightly. And then I'm just going to keep going. Polar fleece has a little bit of a stretch to it, so you want to make sure that you're not pulling your fabric. When I get to the center of my heart, I'm going to do it just like I did my corners. I'm going to put my needle down, I'm going to lift, and then I'm going to turn my project all the way so I'm going on the other edge of my heart. That'll give me a nice crisp point there in the center. Going nice and slow. And I'm coming back around to my red clip, so I'm going to remove my red clip, but I'm going to put my finger where I'm going to stop. And remember, I need to make sure that I have enough room for that squeaker toy to fit through. Now we've sewn all the way around, we'll head back to the mat. Now we've stitched all the way around on our heart, and we want to check a couple of things before we turn it right side out. First of all, I want to make sure that I've caught all my edges on both sides. So I like to flip my project over and just double check. Because Polar Fleece has a stretch, sometimes it can shift on you when you're stitching. The next thing is I want to clip right here on this little, just a little bit, so that when I turn it, it's got a little more ease in this point, and that'll make that point stand out better. So you just want to clip a tiny little slit, making sure that you don't clip your stitches. And see, that way my heart sides will stretch a little bit. Then you're going to turn your heart right side out. I like to just poke my finger in there, get a good chunk, and then turn it. And when you turn something, you always want to turn it gently so that you don't pull your stitches out. Because you pull your stitches, then you got to turn it back and redo it on the machine. I'm going to use my chopstick, and I'm just going to go inside, and I'm going to run it along that seam so that I get those curves turned nice and pretty. And then I want to poke that bottom point out. Do the other side. Run it along that seam, and then you truly get a good heart shape. And that center is still a little bulky, so if you just kind of wiggle it, it will kind of ease a little bit more. Now we're ready to stuff our project. So you're going to start with just a little bit of polyfill at a time. Stuff it in that opening. And you want to start with your heart side that is furthest away from the hole. And you want to poke it up there, nice and full. And for a chew toy, you want it fluffy, but you don't want it stiff, because you want your pet to be able to get a hold of it. So I'm going to poke down in there, get that side of the heart about the fluffiness I want it, and I want to get this point down here. Now I'm going to insert my squeaker, and it doesn't really matter which end of your squeaker, because I want my squeaker kind of in the middle. And I'm just going to kind of wiggle it in there and bury it in that polyfill, and then I'm going to stuff this side. Get that kind of in there where I can feel it a little bit, but it's got a little polyfill on each side. Now I'm going to stuff this side, and then I'll show you the next step. Now we've stuffed both sides of our heart, and our squeaker is in here in the middle. Now we're going to close this opening by hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of shove my polyfill down, and we'll adjust that after we get it closed up. And I'm going to take my opening, roll that edge in so it's not a raw edge sticking out, and I'm going to put a couple of clips, because I'm going to start at this end and go this way. I'm going to use a regular sewing needle, and I have these handy little bottle cap pin cushions, and if you want to learn how to make one of those, I'll put the link to that video in the description box. They come in nice and handy for your needles because the hard plastic doesn't let them go anywhere. So to start this, we're going to do a whip stitch. So we're going to take our needle, and we're going to start by burying our knot on the inside. So it's in between our two fabric layers. And I have doubled my thread so that it is a little stronger. Then you're going to just lay your thread over across both sides, and you're always going to stitch from the back. So we're going to take a stitch, and be sure when you're hand sewing you pull your threads all the way down to where they catch every stitch. That way you don't get a big knot. So I'm going to lay my thread over, come from the back, and stitch. And I'm just going to keep going all the way across, adjusting that edge, making sure it's tucked in as I go. And this is a pretty good size opening because we had to leave it big enough for that squeaker to fit. And you want your stitches fairly close together so that you don't have any opening for your pet's teeth to get into. This type of stitch makes it really secure when you're hand sewing. Almost to the end. All right, then to tie it off, I like to take a stitch and pull my needle through the loop that I made with my stitch and pull it nice and secure. And I do that on this particular project, because I want to make sure it doesn't come undone, I'm probably going to do it 3 times. So find my loop, put my needle through, and pull it tight. And then I'm going to make a stitch right on top of the knot that I just did. Find my loop, pull it through, pull it nice and tight. And then clip your threads close. Now, when I squeeze it and get that fluffy, that polyfill back in there, then our project is complete. And I hope your pet loves it. So I hope you liked today's project, the pet toy with the squeaker inside. And if you made one, leave a comment below telling us how your pet liked it. So, see you in the next one.